one of the reasons we decided to become homesteaders was to get closer to nature, to get out of the city, and I think a lot of people looking to build an off-grid cabin have the same idea as we do. In today's video, we're going to show you how to build a basic off-grid cabin inexpensively. We're going to show you all the different ways we power the off-grid cabin. We're going to show you all the ways that we saved money on it as well, and share some tips and tricks that can help you if you're thinking about building an off-grid cabin. And in the end, we actually turn this building into something entirely different that becomes a profitable business for our homestead. So be sure to watch till the very end so you can see the big reveal and see how we're making money off of this property going forward. Welcome to Homestead How. Before we get into building the off-grid cabin, here's a quick introduction. We're a family of 6 and we've been homesteading in central Wisconsin for about 6 years, and our whole family gets involved. We've done a ton of videos on building projects, businesses on our homestead, goats and chickens, and all sorts of good stuff. One thing I'd suggest if you're thinking about getting into an off-grid cabin or you're just dreaming about it, get out there and do some camping in the meantime. My girls and I have gone camping several times on our property and away from our property, and it's a great way to get out there in the wilderness and experience some of those things you're probably seeking in getting an off-grid cabin. If you're interested in seeing more winter camping videos, be sure to subscribe and check the description for some playlist links. Now let's get started. We wanted to build an off-grid cabin to have a place for quiet, relaxation, a place to read a good book and enjoy nature. And we have this location you can see here on the screen on the edge of our property, and there's an open clearing before a huge pine forest, and there's always deer out here. It's a nice flat area and a perfect spot for a cabin. Our other reason for building a cabin was because we're always looking for ways to support our homestead. We have an Airbnb rental on our homestead and some other businesses, so that was in the back of our mind as well. So the first thing we did before building our cabin was designed it all in Google SketchUp. Google SketchUp is a free program. It's easy to use. You can watch some YouTube videos to learn how to do it, but it'll save you a lot of money because you'll be able to plan the whole project out, get a cut list, realize things that you wouldn't have otherwise, and really plan everything out. Now, a big consideration is the foundation. In our case, we're using a cement foundation, which is probably pretty uncommon. We're doing that because we're considering this as a multi-use building. It's an off-grid cabin that could also potentially be a storage area, a she shed for Jen's stuff, or maybe even a dog kennel or another business. So we're keeping that in mind, and that's the reason we're going with the cement. If we didn't do the cement foundation, we'd probably do something like this, which is more traditional for an off-grid cabin, made out of lumber, although with the cost of lumber right now, it's probably pretty close to the cost we paid for the cement. In any case, we'll share all of those costs for the entire building at the end of the video. I built these forms out of 2x6s. I didn't get that on video. The entire area is going to be 16 feet by 14 feet. So like most projects on Homestead How, our entire family got involved. I used this big 2x4 with a board on it to screed off and level off the gravel. And then Emma went around and compacted everything down. It was really dry out though, so I needed to get some water out there. Because we're off grid, we don't have a well at this point, so I had to MacGyver something together. This orange trailer I have, keep an eye on this because later I'm going to convert this into a solar powered trailer, and we use that to power the cabin for years to come. So I didn't get it on video, but we paid $800. We had a company come and bring the cement, and they did all of the cement work for us.
Can you speak? Good boy! Can you speak louder? Speak. Good boy!
So now comes the fun part. We can actually start building something. So we've built 2 tiny houses on our homestead. Here's some flashback footage. We did a whole playlist on that tiny house build. Senior helped me with it. It was quite a project, and it turned out amazing. And a tiny house is very much like an off-grid cabin. It just has wheels on it. This particular tiny house we built also had a full solar setup and was completely off-grid. So besides the tiny house, we've done a ton of building projects on the homestead, more than I can count. One that I really had a lot of fun with our entire family was building our greenhouse. That was an awesome video. The whole family was involved and it really turned out well. I'll leave a link in the description for that one as well. So as you'll see, Google SketchUp really comes in handy when it comes time to cutting and ordering the proper amount of material. The other thing I do to save money with the lumber prices being so expensive right now is consider going to an Amish lumber mill. You can get a lot cheaper prices. So now we'll build the front wall. So the cool thing with Google SketchUp, other than it being free, is once your project's completely designed, you can print out cut lists and it'll tell you exactly what you need to cut, and it really helps with the whole workflow. I was able to cut all of the boards for this front wall in just about 15 or 20 minutes or so, and then assemble them all. Versus kind of having a design in your head and getting out the tape measure and measuring for each window, this takes all of the hard work out of it and really streamlines the process. So you may be wondering, why am I building an off-grid cabin in our garage? Well, this particular off-grid cabin is going to be located on the other side of our property, and I'm going to attempt to build just this front wall in the garage and then trailer it out to the site, and the rest of the off-grid cabin will be built right on the site. If you have the option of building in a workshop and then trailering everything over to your site, that may be something you want to consider. On our last tiny house project, we built all of the walls in our shop, trailered them outside, and then built everything like a big puzzle. And it really saved a lot, because if you're off-grid and out in the middle of nowhere, you may not have all the tools you need handy. So this framing work is all pretty straightforward. I'm using screws here instead of nails. You could use either. Part of the reason I'm using screws also is because I'm building this in the garage and then I'm going to move it over, so it's going to get torqued around quite a bit moving it over. So this was a really exciting part of the project, transporting the front wall out to the site. We're fortunate to live on a 20-acre homestead, and this particular location for the off-grid building is amazing. It's on the edge of the property, surrounded by trees. We see deer out here all of the time. We also see wild turkeys, so it's a really quiet, peaceful spot for the off-grid building. So with the foundation in place and the front wall in place, the rest of this should go together pretty quickly. Of course, we had to stop at Menards and pick up some more lumber, some OSB, but with the Google SketchUp and all of the plans, everything should come together pretty quickly, and thankfully I've got Senior helping me along with all of the girls and Jen. So the goal today is to build both of these side walls. They should be pretty straightforward. There's not any windows, just some straight studs cut to length. As you'll see in some of these upcoming clips, we like to joke around a little bit on the homestead and have some fun while we're doing hard work, of course.
Need a longer one.
That's what she said.
Now everything goes together really quickly. Everything's cut to length. It's just a matter of attaching all of the boards together. I put together this little spacer so I could get a nice 16 inches on center without having to measure each one. So the next day we have to attach these studs to the cement, and I hate using those Tapcon screws, so I found a new tool. It's called a Ramset, and we had a lot of fun with this, as you'll see.
You put a bullet in, you put a nail in, you hit it. Somebody got frustrated, put it into cement, and they decided, what if I had a hammer that took bullets? And they invented this thing.
So here we're just making sure everything is nice and square before we go nuts with the Ramset tool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Always love a new tool, and that Ramset sure was a lot of fun and made the job easier. Now we're putting all of the OSB up and cutting it to size, and it's really starting to come together quickly now. You may be thinking, what about the back door you had in the Google SketchUp? Well, we'll get to that by the end of the video. So with the walls all in place, it's time to move on to the roofing and the rafters. We're going to use a bird's mouth here on the board, and we're getting all of the angles from Google SketchUp. So now we're building the covered patio area, which also serves as the loft for the inside of the building. So we'll be able to put a bed up here in a cabin scenario or use it as storage. And then underneath it, if I'll be able to go outside, have a little back door there, sit on the cement patio and have a covered area to sit on and enjoy nature. This was a moment of truth, putting some of the first rafters up, just going off the Google SketchUp design, dimensions, and angles, but they all fit perfectly, and you can see me there standing up on the loft in some of those shots. And with the rafters in place, it's time to put some OSB board up on top and screw it all down. And this is the point where the building becomes really solid. It's pretty solid now, but there is a little shake and shimmy to it, but once you screw all of these roofing boards down, it becomes a really solid unit. I didn't get the interior part on video, but we did put this insulation in all of the walls and the ceiling. One thing I didn't realize doing the 3D design in Google SketchUp was I should have added an overhang. I didn't have that in the design, so we improvised and we created this 1-foot overhang. We built this on the ground and then lifted it up and attached it. Looks a lot nicer, and it'll be more functional that way. Keep the weather off the side of the house. Now typically when doing roofing, I would just default to using metal roofing. That's what we put on our chicken coop and our goat house. And some of the tiny houses too, we just use metal roofing. In this case, we're using an asphalt shingle from a company called Ondura. They were willing to send us some of these to try them out, and I really like them. They're really light and easy to work with. Kind of just flop them up there and screw them down like you would a metal roof, but not as heavy as a metal roof and not as hard to manage. So here I'm putting a line up just to make sure that first row has a nice even overhang all the way down. And then it's just a matter of screwing all these in just like you would a metal roof. So with the roofing done, we have to make another trip to Menards and get all of the siding, J channel, F channel, and everything needed to finish up the exterior of the off-grid building. So we had a pretty good budget going into it, but we did have to add some on. For example, we added this overhang as I mentioned, so we needed some more soffit material and some channel to button all of this up here. It sure is exciting. Everything's coming together now. Now it's just a matter of putting up this siding. You want to use nails or you can use screws. You just don't want to tighten them down. They're supposed to be able to move in this slot so that they can expand and contract. And you want to make sure to get that bottom layer really level, and then every couple of rows check it again. This is the starter strip I'm showing here on the screen. That's the bottom layer you really want to have perfectly level. And there's a little gap in there that you slide the first piece under, and then it should all go up nice and level. So it's all coming together now. I just have to do the front of this. I wish I would have used house wrap around this. I'm not sure why I didn't. That was a mistake. But I had a lot of fun filming the front part of this and finishing up the exterior, as you'll see here. I'm bringing in the reinforcements to finish the front off. Are you going to stand around all day, or are you going to get some work done? Rookie. What are you laying down for? Get up. Seriously, stop! Stop!
friggin' hailing out.
Just gonna quit?
I'm done.
There's a little snow.
Did you let the goats out? No, I did not let the goats out. Jeez. They're eating all the screws back here. Get out of here.
In the arms of the angel.
Boom! Micromanage! Promote synergy! Hit on Deborah! Get rejected! Swallow sadness!
Get out of here. Come on, get! Sorry, did I wake you? Go.
So as you can see, I have way too much time on my hands on the homestead, but I had a lot of fun filming this. Now, one of the ways you can save a bunch of money is going to the Habitat Restore to buy used items, such as this front door. I think I paid $10 for this. In a minute, I'm going to show you the big reveal on the inside and show you a whole bunch of ways we saved money on this off-grid building.
And it's cold out. What are you going to do about the little piece up there? I don't know what we're going to do on the top. This was your idea. You figure out what we do on the top. Get a piece and cut it down. Get out. Hey, good. Can one of you give me a hand up here? You guys need to shut up. I'm trying to sleep in here. Jeez.
So now it's time for the big reveal and to show you the inside of the off-grid building and what we ended up using it for. Let's head on over on the Argo and show you what we got. So in conclusion, it's been some time since we finished building our off-grid cabin slash multi-use building, and here it is. And near the end, I didn't get it all on video, we decided we're gonna first use this as an off-grid dog kennel, with the possibility to convert it back to a regular cabin like in the Google SketchUps we showed you earlier. We decided to do this because it's one of the best business opportunities for our homestead. Originally we were going to do an off-grid cabin and then maybe rent it out on Airbnb, but then you got to deal with the toilet and a shower and all that stuff, and it gets really complicated. In our particular community or zoning, we're allowed to have a 4-stall dog kennel, and you don't have to go through all of the hoops. We can easily convert this back to the cabin that we showed in the Google SketchUps with the sleeping loft on the top, but we've been doing this now for a while. This is some time ago that we did this whole build, and it's been a successful dog kennel for us, and it was a little slow during COVID, but this last year it's been really busy. So I mentioned earlier a couple of ways that we power our off-grid homestead, and the very first way we did it was with this. This is just a little battery with a solar panel, and we get really good sunlight up here, and it's 12 volts, and it goes into the off-grid building, and I have some 12 volts lights, and they're actually, I believe they're auto lights. You can buy those because they're all 12 volts. And I have it hooked up to a light switch, and you turn it on and it gives you light almost all night, but in the winter time it's hard because we don't have that much sun. So this wasn't keeping up. And then in the summertime we've got fans and stuff running, so that's not enough for all of that, but we slowly stepped up. That was the first thing. So this is the second way. This was our big upgrade. This is our solar trailer that we built on the homestead. I did a whole video on this. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check some of the past videos if you want to see how we built this thing, but it has 4 12-volt batteries in it. It's got 200-watt solar panels. Get the dog, he's real excited. And this thing puts out a lot of power. This could power the off-grid building for several days. And I just have a cord coming off the side that you can see over there, and we just plug that right into this. You get 120 volts. I've got an inverter in here, and that powers the whole building, including the big exhaust fan I have up at the top. And one additional way we power the off-grid property is with this Blue Eddy power station. This thing is really cool. It's small, it's lightweight, but it outputs DC and AC, 120 volts, and it lasts for several hours, and you can recharge it by plugging it into the wall or plugging a solar panel into it. It also has a flashlight on the back, and you can put a phone on the top to wirelessly charge your phone. We've used this thing all around the homestead for camping, but we've also used it in the off-grid building several times. Completely off-grid, we've got 4 lights in here, a ceiling fan, and then a really big exhaust fan that we're going to use in the summertime. Let's throw the switch right now and see if it works. We've got the solar battery pack hooked up. Those are the little lights. Exhaust fan, ceiling fan light. I said earlier I'm going to show you a bunch of ways we save money on it. I'm going to show you that now. The first way we saved money on it was using Google SketchUp to plan everything out. That saved us a bunch of money. There wasn't any waste or any mistakes, and we were able to build things quickly. Time is money. The second way we saved a bunch of money, habitat restore. We've mentioned this on the channel before. The windows are the only thing right here I wish I would have got from Habitat Restore. We got those cheap windows from Menards. That window was $9 at Habitat Restore. Now all of this was flooring planks we bought at the Habitat Restore, and we put them on the walls, so it made a nice sort of half wall. Imagine if this was a cabin. This door right here, $30 Habitat Restore. The storm door on the other side, $8, and that was a really good deal because it slides up and down and there's a screen on it. Habitat Restore. You're buying recycled things that are going to end up in a landfill, and some of their prices can be way too high, but doors and windows are oftentimes really inexpensive there. Then we converted it into a dog kennel. We added the 4 doors and we added the kennels. Now imagine this without the 4 doors and the kennels. It's a nice wide area. So in my Google SketchUp, I had right here would have been the wood stove, and there'd be a chair here. This arched window, we could take the window out and put a door in, like I had in the Google SketchUp, to get to the back porch. That was the main feature of the cabin that I would love to have, is a covered porch you can sit out on. And then up there is the sleeping loft. And again, I'm not going to climb up there now, but there's room for a bed up there, and the ladder would have gone right here. And then over on this side would have been the little kitchen area. And the kitchen sink right here, so you'd have it in front of the window. And a bookshelf, and there's lots of room in here still. So another option too is if you wanted to build something like this and you didn't want to use the little wood stove like I had in the Google SketchUp, you could go with propane. So you're not technically completely off grid. Although you are once you fill the propane up, but you're relying on the grid for propane. But that little heater we paid $250 for, and it was like Tractor Supply or something. It's just propane. And these are really safe. They have an oxygen sensor shutoff in them. We also have a carbon monoxide detector and some cameras in here. So, in terms of our total cost for our off-grid building, we're at about $5,500. This was before the cost of lumber went so high. The foundation was about $1,000, $2,500 for the lumber, another $1,000 for the kennels and the fencing and the miscellaneous stuff. Here's a commercial we did for the dog kennel. We've since recouped all of that cost by renting it out, and this is a commercial we did that's featured in our local movie theater before the movie plays. We produced this ourselves. Enjoy, and at the end of this video we'll show you some of our favorite photographs from on and about our homestead.
Does your best friend need a vacation?
Oh, I'm tired.
Book a stay at Evergreen Dog Retreat located in Montello. We offer day sitting, full nights, or special rates for week-long stays. Our cozy 4-kennel building offers each dog indoor and outdoor access. We also have a mini dog pool, a teeter-totter, and 20 acres of land, great for dog walks. And best of all, we're a family-run business, and we absolutely love dogs. Evergreen Dog Retreat, where we love dogs as much as you do. Visit evergreendogretreat.com or call 608-566-4461.
Who's a good boy?
Book your dog stay today.
So in conclusion, anybody can build an off-grid cabin. You have YouTube, you have planning, use Google SketchUp. If you want to get started building now and you don't have a property yet, go on Google SketchUp. Figure out what your budget is. Can you do like a 16 by 14? Can you do a 24 by 24? What size do you want? And just start playing around in Google SketchUp to get your designs. That'll give you a good cost, and it'll help you start planning the whole project out. Thanks a lot for watching. Please be sure to subscribe. We have tons of videos on building stuff and homesteading, and I'll leave a link in the description for some of those below. Stay tuned. Here are some of our favorite photos we took this week on our homestead, including the off-grid property. We got some really good ones for you.